Full time here at the Meadow. John Askey's second win as Shrewsbury Town boss. A 1-0 win over Accrington Stanley. And it probably wasn't as easy as it should have been, Lewis Cox.
Maybe, Tom. I don't know. You're probably right. I think a lot of fans have said that. First of all, I think you're the lucky omen.
Absolutely, yeah.
Second Town game of the season,
Absolutely,
two wins, and he is coming to Fleetwood, so good signs there. But yeah, I mean, they played 10 men Accrington today for 70 odd minutes, and the narrow 1-0 win. I do think that it was more about the performance than the result today. Like they needed to win. Going into it, you're going against a team that had 10 games unbeaten. Accrington absolutely flying, 5th in the table after winning the title last season. It was not an easy game on paper. You think just because they've come up from League Two, it's a home game, you should win. Not the case. They have momentum. They're riding the time of their lives. So, and we saw that for the opening 10 or 15. We saw how good they are. Like Jordan Clark was the best player on the pitch by a mile. Other lads, Finley in the hole in the number 10. Town have realistically been sort of played off the park. 2 or 3 shots inches wide. Joel Collins tipped it around the post.
After 20 minutes in, Jordan Clark probably could have had 2 goals, 2 spectacular goals. It probably could have been, and it's not unfair to say, 3 or 4-0.
Yeah, and you were a bit concerned, really.
Definitely.
Because you thought, what, these are a decent side. These are, in that spell, looked one of the best sides I've seen this season, so fair play to them. But of course, one moment, sort of 13 minutes in, I think, changed the game. And, you could argue made it a tougher, certainly a more pressurised environment for Town today. I'm sure we'll talk about the way Connor Ripley was dismissed for his karate kick, I've called it.
Yeah, I think
neck high karate kick.
Of the pictures that we've got of it, one of them looks like a karate kick. The other 2 look like more of a bum to the face. But my first reaction was that it was inside the area, and I thought that because of that it wouldn't be a red card because of double jeopardy. I didn't realise at the time that it was maybe dangerous play. I thought it was just a coming together.
It was sloppy from Accrington because they'd played so well sort of going forward. It was just a long punt from Joel Coleman, goal kick that's caught their defenders out, gone over, and good pace from Liango. You've got to say, back in the lone striking role today, and he's latched onto it. He's beat Ripley to it. This is a highly rated keeper as well. Ripley heard really good things. He would have made life tough for Town today. Lifted it over him. It's a clear foul. He's been absolutely KO'd. I, like you, was wondering, was it looked to me on the line, I thought, which is in the box, isn't it, a pen? So of course if it's given as a pen, then it's not a red, is it? That these new clear as mud rules that everyone
understands.
Well, certainly clearly. I don't understand, but there you go. I don't think the ref understood it either, to be honest, because he spent about half an hour speaking with his assistant on that far side. They judged it to be. It was a fair bit outside the box in the end, wasn't it? 2 or 3 yards.
Yeah, the free kick was taken nearer the edge of the D than it was the edge of the area, really.
Clearly, according to them, wasn't a pen, wasn't near a pen, but right decision for it to be a red, as John Askey's cleared up to me there that, if they've not got a pen and denied a goal scoring opportunity outside the box, then it's a red card. So right decision, totally changed the complexion of the game, the bearings of the game, and far more emphasis on Town to go and win. There was already that, but when it's you've played against 10 men for 70 odd minutes and you still couldn't win. All that, fair play to them that they carried on and they ground it out eventually today. It wasn't pretty or vintage, but 3 points.
As you said, after the red card, really, it should have been all Town, but it wasn't really as convincing as it should have been, especially in kind of the 40 minutes after the red card. It was still a bit slow, and there was still a definite difficulty to break down Accrington.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head at half-time when we were having a chat that it was rushed. They were kind of huff and puff outside the box. Some good passing. Comes to the final moment, it seems really clustered. Can't pick that decisive pass or cross. Look out again for a free midfielder because they had an extra man, and the shot. How many shots by half-time? Could a dozen. And not many on target,
not many from inside the area or from a range really where you can expect them to score.
They were flying wide off target, and it's like a chicken and egg effect, isn't it? Like a cycle. You got space on the edge of the box, you think, I've got to shoot. Crowd urge you to shoot. Then you have too many shots, they go off target. Crowd are like, oh, don't shoot again. They keep missing. You're overthinking it as a player. It's ponderous. You go for the wrong pass. Spoke with Alex Gilead, actually, who got the winner, of course, after the game, and he says, sort of trying too hard, sort of overthinking it, overplaying it, underplaying it, and it was a frustrating first half because they'd done nowhere near enough to take this man advantage. It's cliche, it can become harder against 10 men, can't it? And they pack their defence. I don't think Accrington ever looked likely to score once they'd gone a man down, but Town definitely made hard work of it, and fair play to John Askey. He's obviously spoke with them at half time about how they need to improve, how they need to pull the defence apart, and they look better in the second half time.
Yeah, kind of the first.
The kit man Daz fancies a cameo on the vid. No, we're okay, mate. yeah. Do you want
to be on the video?
Yeah, shut it. Can we have your thoughts on the hard-earned win? No. 3 points.
That's all that matters.
That's strong. There you go. Cheers.
So you mentioned the second half was slightly better, but I suppose for the first 10 minutes of the second half, it was a lot of the same until Askey made a couple of changes really that then flipped everything sort of on its head.
Yeah, that was a good. He's left. That was a good one on the hour mark, wasn't it? Fajiri Okanabiri was called by the manager. You know, the man everyone's wanted to see. You know,
and he got a big cheer when he came on as well.
Yeah, when the PA announced the sub, it was the loudest cheer of the season. It was comical. Anthony Grant went off, and you could have afforded to take your defensive mid off. You know, playing against 10 men, don't need as much control in the middle, and you know. Fajiri played in, you know, he went up front with Angol, but in a slightly free role. He was drifting almost as a 10, and I thought he did well. And sort of ironic in a way that 2 minutes after he comes on, they get that elusive goal, the opener. I don't think Okanabiri played a real part in it, but maybe just that extra body, you know, proved that, you know, something more to handle for the Aki defence, and they just lost sight of maybe Gilead, who, you know, headed home you know, good header from close range. He started to, you know, he put it into the top corner, fair play from a nice Sean Worley cross, but the relief was palpable, wasn't it, in here? Like, you know, we've had it a few times this season, and none more so than Gillingham last week when you get an 88th minute, what should be winner, and then throw it away. But, you know, Accrington then sent on another striker to have a go. Fair play to Town, they'd never looked under any real threat. Would have liked to have seen them, you know, have a bit more of a go to improve on the 1-0, but it wasn't one of those days, was it? It weren't vintage. It was, and John Askey said that to me. You know, I want to see more goals. I want to see improvement in those decision making, in the quality in the final third, because I do believe it's there personally, and I do believe we'll start to see more of it.
In the week, then we've got a Checkatrade Trophy game against Tranmere Rovers, lower league.
Yeah.
What can we expect from that?
Changes. I think the manager suggested it there that, you know, he's happy to give people a breather that need a rest. See players we haven't seen as much of. I think, you know, the likes of Fajiri could start, which I think we'll like to see. You know, players like Doherty, who haven't been getting on. A lot of fans have been wanting to see Greg Doherty. You know, I think Gilead and Worley will probably have a rest. You know, they've ran themselves into the ground. Josh Loren came back in today and I thought had a good game. I'd like to see him continue. Probably give Anthony Grant a rest. You know, one of the older players, and switch up the defence as well. I think we'll see Ryan Haynes and other players. James Bolton. So look forward to that. It's clearly not a priority, is it, when you
mentioned that, but I mean, after the win against Southend, you kind of want something to build on. You want to get a bit of momentum.
Definitely. Yeah.
Is it not better sometimes to go into these games against a team like Tranmere and just get another win?
Yeah.
Just keep it going.
That's what they'll all want. Obviously, I mean, I said it to the manager afterwards. After, you know, that win against Southend, they didn't really build on it. The next game at Scunthorpe was poor, being kind there. So. Yeah, it was one step forward, 2 steps back that time. They can't let that happen again. You know, okay, not beating Tranmere wouldn't be the worst thing in the world as Mickey Mellon brings his League 2 side here on Tuesday. It wouldn't be the worst thing because you're not losing any ground in the league and so on. But yeah, momentum, you're right. Like you want to build on, at least stay unbeaten. You know, build on the win and don't go to the next one with a defeat. Build on the win, get the winning knack, which we've been speaking of.
Trying to work out how to word that sentence.
John Askey was happy with a winning knack today. His side found the knack of winning. You know, when you haven't, they've only had 1 win this season, and you panic. You just can't get it over the line. You panic for wrong reasons when you don't have to panic. They didn't have to panic today, and you know, if you get a knack of winning, then that's what you need, isn't it? I think Accrington have had that this season, where you don't play well but you win. The Town had it last season, obviously on many occasions. Took them right to the playoff final, but if this side can find a knack of winning, then, you know, we see how compact the table is. I don't know where that could take them. You know, I said to the manager afterwards, you know, 2 or 3 wins and that, in the current state of affairs, takes you into the top half. You know, when the goal went in today, Town, who started the day 20th, they went 1-0 up and they went into 14th. I mean, that's 6 places. It's ludicrous, really. 16th as it finished, but a couple more wins and. You know, but you know, obviously you cannot get carried away after today because it was far from perfect. You know, it wasn't vintage, as I've said. So much to work on, but I think it was very much a day of performance. Sorry, not the performance. It was very much a day of the result. Not the performance. You take a win anyway it comes. Town have played much better and not won. You know, more fluid and not won. I'd like to see them create more, as you say, but you know, onto Tranmere, onto Fleetwood,
which I am at. So
yeah. So
that says big things. That's a Shrewsbury win.
Keep your record up. But yeah, just pleased for today. You know, pleased for Gilead, the match winner. I spoke with him, and you know, he, as everyone knows, his statistics, his goal scoring record has been pretty poor at best. You know, he's got a couple of assists already this season, and now he's managed to pop up with his first goal. I think he'll do in the world of good confidence-wise. He looks to me a confidence player, Gilead. Like when his confidence is high, he's running at people, and he's got the pace to beat people. And the first half, actually, he was the one for me. He was going on the outside, putting that left foot crossing on his weaker left foot. He had one of the better efforts on goal.
A lot of fans outside said that. A lot of them chose Gilead as their star man today as well.
Well, yeah, exactly. And I think if he can keep playing and he can keep producing, you know, even if he doesn't get the assist or the goal, at least getting his crosses in and creating moments. And I think his sort of stock will be up. He'll fancy himself and back himself to keep doing it. You know, so he is a player that can flit in and out. You know, not a luxury player, but one that when he's not having the best of days, you can think, you know, where's Gilead? But if you've got a good Gilead on your hands that starts producing, then I think he's a good player in this division. I mean, you said Sean Worley today, didn't you?
Yeah.
You haven't seen as much of Town as a lot of people, but Worley impressed you. I just think we all have high standards of Sean Worley, and you expect that from him. Like, there was a bit of play in the second half, that little dummy and touch and cross, which was class.
As the game opened up in the second half, he got better and better and better. I think he thrived in that as well.
Yeah, a lot of people have said, talking about Fajiri, of course, came on and he had an impact. He looked tidy, he looked good on the ball, he looked lively, like a little spark, some step overs, rippled the side, net him with a shot. A lot of people said, oh, you know, the goal and the wins come about because they went to up top, they brought Fajiri on. I don't think he was the difference today and sparked the win. I don't think a 4-4-2 or whatever it was sparked the win. I'm not saying that's a coincidence, and I don't think Fajiri is the answer. I don't think we'll see 4-4-2 from the start anytime soon, which a lot of fans want to see, because as Askey is concerned about, you do lose midfield control, you lose a body in midfield, which he thinks is important. You know, everyone has their opinions on it, but he likes the 4-3-3. That all changed today because they were playing against 10 men. You know, I don't think there was a need for 3 centre mids against 10 men, but it's situations, isn't it? That's what he said to me. They go to Fleetwood. I'm not sure how Fleetwood have been playing systems wise, but they got a great win on the road today, and obviously in good spirits. I think they're 10th or something, so you know, if they play 4-3-3, Askey might want to match them up. But certainly something to build on for Town today. That's what you hope, isn't it? Like a springboard, kickstart the season, all those cliches, because we've had enough 1-1s, 0-0s this season. So I'm very happy to be talking about a 1-0 win. You know, people might want 2, 3, 4-0s, but 1-0 is fine. You know, 3 points. Town haven't conceded many this season, so you know, maybe they're going to be, again like last season, a side that wins 1-0, 2-1, doesn't concede many. You know, I don't think the back four have been brilliant by any stretch, but they're not conceding many, which is a good sign. Yeah, I think. So yeah, how to sum up this one is weird, isn't it? It's like you're kind of happy that you're taking the 3 points. Well, delighted really, as it's only the second league win in 12, but much to work on still. Yeah, like, you know, especially in that final third. But you know, they produced one today, which made all the difference. So, you know, work on that. We could see the goals start to fly in, and more convincing wins. You know, Askey wants them to stop, you know, giving himself heart palpitations at the end of the game. But you know, we're happy with 3 points, aren't we? And we go again at Tuesday night, and in the big one at Fleetwood next weekend.
So not a great performance, but a great win for all the rest of your Shrewsbury Town coverage. Keep it shropshirestyle.com.